All right, one last video for today. Hopefully the sound is coming through all right. I'm trying to be a little louder, but I can only be so loud in this new place. What am I looking at? The Young Adventurers Collection. Why am I picking this up, you might ask? I'm not a D&D guy. I am not particularly a fan of the company that put this out. However, I found it at an astoundingly low price, and I am hoping, as I have said in some previous videos, to run some games for some younger players. And they know D&D because this is what their friends have talked about. Now, here's something. I was under the impression that these were hardcover. They are not. They are soft cover. This slipcase is nice and solid, but that could be a problem for my plans for these. Now, I did not pay very much, so if I break the spine on them, I'm not going to be super worried. There are books on wizards and spells, dungeons and tombs, not tomes, tombs, warriors and weapons, and monsters and creatures. These are not rule books. These are kind of conceptual introductions, if you will. Now, one of the things that I particularly like is that it has these creature breakdowns, but it has advice for the players and their characters here. Do this. Fight magic with magic. If your party includes spellcasters, get them to put up magical shields to protect your fighters from beholders' eye beams. Flipping over to Goblin. Target the leader. Goblins are cowardly and often run away once their strongest fighter is defeated. Great. Don't do this. Don't rush into battle. Goblin lairs are riddled with traps and alarms. These little bits of advice, I think, could be a really cool thing to put into the young players' hands so that they can start getting an idea of how to engage with the imaginary world in a little bit more of a rational or reasonable way. I don't want to stifle the imagination, but at the same time, part of this thing is creating that kind of fantasy of the adventure. And if you don't know what to do on these adventures, or you don't have some idea, that can be a problem. Uh, maybe. Not that I had an idea when I was a kid, but one of the things that I kind of would like to do, and why I was hoping these were hardcovers, is do something like photocopy this page, age it, make it into essentially a handout. I might get rid of some pieces, like, put something over here, tear it or whatever, make it so that it's not so obviously a book, get rid of the page numbers, that kind of thing. But make this into a kind of a handout so that they can maybe assemble a little guidebook of somebody who's gone before, who's written about these things. But they can maybe put together a little guidebook of how to handle creatures or what have you, or find little bits of advice or little rumors and that kind of thing. But I thought it might just be handy for them to be able to look at stuff. And if I'm running them through, maybe I'm not using Forgotten Realms, so not everything in this is going to, like, would I have tieflings and tabaxi and kenku and in a setting? Probably not normally. Now, kids are really into it, and sure, whatever. But these things can just be little helpful guides to give a kid a little bit more of an idea of things. I like stuff like this, the breakdown on what different types of shields are. That's just not something that we all have as common knowledge. And I remember as a kid reading through books and game books, and they would reference a certain type of weapon or something. I'd be like, I don't know what this is. I have no frame of reference. I didn't have reference books filled with them. Adventurers gear. These are ideas to spark the imagination of what you're carrying with you. So when you want to approach a problem not using combat, you can think about what you have in your pack and how that might be used. This, I think, gets into some specific setting places, but some of this could be useful uh, for more general stuff. Plus, it also has several monsters in it. I remember that being a complaint that someone had is it's all these settings and yet here's a whole bunch more monsters, which is not what the book is supposed to be about. And I understand that complaint. The thing on traps, just cool, cool little ideas that are packaged for a younger reader, which I think could be really neat types of magic. Some of this is very D&D specific, but it doesn't have the rules which if you are running for kids, and I'm talking like really young kids, where I might be using a very stripped down version of the rules so that there's not all of the extra crunch and what have you. Say something maybe more akin to what seems to be the case with Shadow Dark, which I have not picked up and have not read, but it seems to be a distilled version of like a D&D 5e. Uh, Something like that might be more fun because I don't care for D&D and I don't care for all the extra crunch, and 5e certainly did not change my mind. If anything, it may have made it worse. But could be cool. Again, got these at a real low price. Still a little annoyed they're not hardcovers, as the implication was that they were hardcovers. But could be handy for the young audience. And if I end up going through reading these, maybe making some handouts out of some of them, and then when I'm finished, I'll pass these off to a younger player who might be interested in them. So that's it for now. I don't think, especially seeing how they are softcover, I don't think if you see these for a higher price that they're necessarily worth it. Yeah, the list price is $34.99. I don't know if I'd go that high. Honestly, the highest physical quality piece of it is the actual slipcase itself. So anyway, on to the next whatever else I'm doing today. If you enjoy this channel at all, take a look in the links below. You can support it in any way that you'd like. And if not, well, sorry. Until next time, take care.